Here's a quick tip for DocXtools.
When I say discover, I'm talking about that discover pane or the discover process where we're asking questions of the document and assessing the health. The rules are what we are asking by way of the discover process. So essentially the questions that the discoverer is asking of this particular document. The evaluation is a section of the discover task pane that shows you what we found in the document. And then everything is categorized, and that one's pretty straightforward. The autofix, which I've already mentioned earlier, is a button that is linked to a repair process based on what we found in the Discover pane. Now, not everything that we find in the Discover has an autofix associated with it, but you'll know that it has an autofix if it has a little checkbox next to it. So you can simply check that box and then navigate to the autofix button, and any item that happens to be checked will have a routine run for it. And then we have a macro, which is the automated process, and they are comprised of procedures within DocXtools. So as I mentioned earlier, the Discover button is a split button. The top half of the button runs the entire document check, where it shows every category being run that are shown in the dropdown here. And the dropdown simply allows you some granularity. If you want to only check comparison check or only wanted to check on the tables, you could certainly do so. If you run the document check button at the very, very bottom, it will change the color. It will basically change the button icon to a red, yellow, or green indicator light, indicating whether you should stop, proceed with caution, or just move forward with working on the document. Generally, the document check button is given to attorneys because it doesn't make any changes and it doesn't recommend you do anything. It just gives them the option to send it to word processing if it comes up as red. Okay, so this is the Discover task pane that we will see when we run a Discover check. The evaluations area is up at the top, like I mentioned before, and this is going to give us everything that is found within that particular scan. The area at the bottom is going to give us some idea of how severe these issues are, and based on what we select here, will give us different tips to fix this issue, and will also allow us to navigate to this point in the document that's flagging this particular item. So the three icons that we're going to see in the evaluations pane are the wrench, the checkbox, and the information item, which is the little text bubble. So when you have an autofix associated item, it may be checked, it might not. But when the item is checked, you could simply click the autofix button, and then any item that happens to be checked in this evaluations list will be addressed. The informational item doesn't have any fix associated with it, and it's just basically saying, hey, you should check and look at the tip to see more information about this particular item. And then there's the wrench, which is a semi-automated fix. This is typically for some sort of symbol or formatting within the document, and it essentially requires human intervention. But the tips as well will give you some idea as where to go forward with this. On top of that, we have a report tab, whoops. And the report tab allows you to create a report based on the Discover that you've run. And you can simply right click and run a report in the evaluations tab. When you find an item and you navigate to the tip will tell you exactly what the evaluation is, why it may have occurred, and how you can fix it using Native Word or DocXtools. I would encourage you to look at the tips. It's very important that you read these because sometimes the information in the evaluation pane itself can be a bit ambiguous.